All right, here we go. Today we have Hollywood royalty in the building. Lou Diamond Phillips. Welcome to Vlad TV.
Thrilled to be here. Really, thanks for having me.
Longtime fan. Huge fan of a lot of your films, man.
I appreciate that, man. I've been around a minute. It's funny. I mean, literally just yesterday, I don't know when this is airing, but just yesterday, my 17-year-old daughter, Indigo, had never seen La Bamba. And since it was February 3rd, 66-year anniversary since the plane went down, the day the music died. So we watched it. And just a reminder that I've been around a while. My 17-year-old goes, Dad, you were cute. It's like, yeah, I used to be cute.
Well, it's your first time here. So I want to start in the very, very beginning.
Yeah.
So your dad is white, mom is Filipino.
Yeah.
And you were a military baby.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was born on the Subic Bay Naval Air Station in the Philippines, and left, pretty quickly. Actually, I think I was less than a year old, and ended up being stationed around the country. My biological father, Gerald Upchurch, passed very young, and my mother remarried George Phillips. So Lou Diamond is my real name. I was actually named after Gunnery Sergeant Lou Diamond, who was a hero in World War II in the Pacific Theater, and kind of a Marine's Marine. So a lot of people who have been in the Marines know where I got my name. And then obviously my father, George Phillips, I took his last name. So traveled around a lot every couple of years, and I think. A lot of military brats, we end up going into this business because we have to be extroverted. We have to, establish ourselves quickly and make new friends and whatnot. And then I eventually settled down in Corpus Christi, Texas, and that's where I spent a lot of my formative years.
Well, your dad passed away when you were only 1 year old.
Yeah, very young.
So then your mom remarried.
Yes. Yeah, she had a thing for military guys, I guess. It must have been the uniform.
Gotcha. So your stepdad was basically the only dad you knew your whole life.
100%. Yeah, George Phillips, and he's still down in Corpus. He's still doing great. Military guy. So just learned a lot about manners and work ethic and all of that stuff. And I think a lot of that kept me grounded. When I got to Hollywood, and I didn't move to Hollywood. They found me for La Bamba in Dallas, Texas, and sent me out for a screen test. So I was 24. I was a little older. Didn't get my head too turned by sort of instant fame.
Well, you actually started acting in elementary school.
Yeah. Yeah, I was in the Philippines, and a lot of overachievers. A lot of really great kids, smart kids. And smart kids tend to be rambunctious and bored easily. So I had two great elementary school teachers in the sixth grade, Miss Greenberg and Miss McGinn. I remember them to this day. And they took a bunch of us and said, "Listen, you're going to write our Christmas play." So, I think the statute of limitations has worn off, and ended up ripping off Peanuts and doing a Charlie Brown type Christmas thing. I wrote the role of Linus for myself, and wrote myself all the best jokes, quite honestly, So when you're up there and you're getting the laughs and the applause and whatnot, I mean, that's how the bug bites, And when I got to Texas, we moved. I was in the Philippines at the time. We'd gone back and was restationed there right after George got back from Vietnam. And after that, we ended up going down to Corpus, and pretty quickly got involved in theater at Flower Bluff High and junior high. In Texas, they have this thing called the University Interscholastic League, the UIL, and it has drama meets just like you have track meets. So I was competing in a monologue and duet scenes and, improv. Every year we would do the one-act play, and I was winning awards. So, that's kind of the positive reinforcement, somebody needs to go into something like acting. And, I was a good student. I was ridiculously good. I graduated fourth in my class, just like .02, degree points off of valedictorian. So a lot of people were shocked when I said I was going to go into acting, that I was going to major in theater at the University of Texas at Arlington. I mean, even my drama coach tried to talk me out of it, you know? So it was something I intended to do for a very long time. I didn't just, decide to become an actor because I got discovered wearing a tight t-shirt at a soda fountain.
Okay, so you knew what you wanted to do from elementary school, and you never really swerved from that goal. So elementary school, you're doing plays. You get to high school, you start writing plays. So when you're getting ready to graduate from high school, you got accepted to Yale University?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny, I'll backtrack a little bit. My dad, who talks like this, and I actually kind of did a character like him recently in a film. A movie called Get Fast, where I play a character called the Cowboy. So I decided to talk like this, and it's a fun little action film that's streaming right now if you want to watch it. But at any rate, my dad, when I was like 13, he says, what do you want to do, for a living? And I said, well, I want to be a writer. He goes, well, I thought you might want to do something where you can make some more money, So I came back a year later. I said, I want to be an actor. He goes, well, that's not what I had in mind, I was, as I said, I was a good student, and in my senior year, I applied to a lot of places, and got accepted into Yale. And it's the first time I've actually seen tears in my dad's eyes, because he had to tell me we couldn't afford to go. We couldn't afford to send me to Yale. We didn't have all the kind of, scholarship support and everything else, back then. So I ended up going to the University of Texas at Arlington. I was also accepted into the Naval Academy, into Baylor, into a bunch because, like I said, my grades sort of spoke for themselves. But I went to UTA because some really dear friends of mine, Danny Jackson, who's just retired from teaching down in Corpus, and Tony Ritter, a friend of mine, Rob, who passed from AIDS back in the 90s. Danny got a football scholarship, so we all decided to stick together and go there for a while. And I have to say, it probably turned out to be the best thing for me. I mean, obviously having Yale on your resume would be pretty fantastic. But at the time in Dallas-Fort Worth, they were the number one producer of commercials and industrials. And it was also a right-to-work state. And so the Dallas series was shooting there, tons of TV movies. And so I became a professional actor even while I was going to school, when I was 19. So all of a sudden I was making a living acting, and working toward my degree. And obviously, all of that experience eventually led to a successful audition for La Bamba.
Well, before you get to college, you're jumping around different military bases and so forth. And for example, like my first girlfriend in college, she was Black and Japanese. Dad was in the military, met the mom in Japan. And she kind of described how when they go from base to base and she goes to these different schools, all the kids are mixed. Like it's normal to be mixed when you're a military kid. So it was always regular for you to be Filipino and white. But then when you get to college, you said that's when you first experienced racism.
100%, man. I mean, there were tons and tons of mixed kids around all the Navy bases, that I grew up in. And so I was completely normal. I identified as American. I identified as a military brat. And I remember, going to Baylor for the first time, man. And my friend Danny's Black, and my friend Tony is German, Mexican, and our token white friend Rob was gay. So I remember I was going up to visit the Baylor campus and walked into a Burger King at the time, and we walked in and we looked like the help. Because everybody else in there, were Buffy and Biffy, frat and sorority, type people. And I was like, okay, I'm going to stick out a lot here. So maybe this isn't for me. And the 11 o'clock curfew for a drama major just won't work. So it was odd because now all of a sudden I was categorized when I had never been categorized before. And I've said it before, I could get a job as a busboy, but they wouldn't hire me as a waiter, in DFW, not in 1980. And I was dating this girl whose family was from Kansas, obviously Caucasian, and it was all well and good, when they thought I was just, the drama major friend of hers, because I'm pretty sure they assumed I was gay, I took care of their dog. I house sat for them. I mowed their lawn. I did lots of stuff. But, the second they found out we were actually dating, I was no longer welcome in their house. So that was a rather stark realization that, because of what I look like, I was going to be different and perhaps not accepted in certain circles. And maybe the beginning of me, waving that flag of representation, and inclusion that, that mantle got put on me in Hollywood pretty quickly, not through any, personal, desire to be that guy. I just became that guy because there weren't that many of me in Hollywood, at the time.